First, I want to talk to you about whether we really are facing a public health crisis in the UK because of our nonchalant attitude about sleep. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, I have been doing this work for over 2.5 decades. That is helping people to sleep. And I have watched things ramping up over this period of time. And 2.5 decades ago, when technology well and truly landed on the scene, the internet and mobile phones and all that sort of thing, I started to notice that the need to have conversations with people around sleep was becoming more compelling. And to answer your question, is there an epidemic? I have never been busier. Sonja. I'm at capacity. If there were an AI version of me, I'd probably be looking to get that. I am absolutely booked to the hilt. And that is a reflection, I think, of demand. It's a problem.
Do you think people are really getting to the point now, where they really understand that sleep has such an important role to play in their well-being? Are we finally getting the message?
I think the message is definitely being put out there. The sleep industry has grown enormously. So there's so much in the press, there's so much manufacturing to help us to get a better night's sleep, so much engineering going into better beds and mattresses and pillows and scents and candles and, the technology behind it. So it's a lot of awareness. I think we still have some way for it to really sink in, for people to truly acknowledge the value, the importance of sleep, and the reason why nature has designed us to spend a third of our lives sleeping. There's an intelligence in that design. I think we've yet to fully comprehend that the world that we're living in is also going at such a pace that never have we needed to take our sleep more seriously, but it still hasn't quite landed for a lot of people.
Sure. Explain to us, why does the brain need sleep? What is this? What happens when we sleep? Why is it so important?
Well, I think along with all the engineering that's going into sleep to get us a better night's sleep science has also ramped up as well. So even though sleep, there's still a huge mystery around it. Why do we sleep? Why do we spend a third of our lives sleeping? We are getting more answers. And what is clear is that there's an immense reorganizing potential built into the process of sleep if we sleep well. In other words, it seems to reorganize the body, rebalance the body on many levels, not just physically and mentally and emotionally, but I believe spiritually as well. So I'm trained as a Western scientist, I'm a neurophysiologist, but in my quest to learn how to sleep better and to help other people, I've also studied the Eastern sciences like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. So I have an integrated approach. And if you look at it in an integrated fashion, it seems to be that sleep enables us to heal on all of those levels: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. When I say spiritual, by the way, that means giving us the energy to wake up in the morning and to face our day and to feel passionate and inspired and enthusiastic. And I heard you saying you're going to talk about excitement and anticipation later. So
yes,
to wake up feeling excited and in anticipation of what lies ahead, we need to have had good sleep, I believe. Getting back to the brain specifically as well, and why we're needing sleep for the brain, because of the volume of information we're handling these days with technology, we more than ever need this process to pack away the information of the day to enable us to consolidate the working memory for our learning, for increasing research now showing that good sleep may even help to slow down neurodegeneration, so the development of disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
Now, wow, that's some good news to know about. I'll try and get more sleep.
Yeah, and I think that this, maybe for your listeners, your teenage listeners, they might not be able to personally relate to this, hopefully, but they may have relatives, grandparents who've got dementia or Parkinson's, and that sleep, there's a reason why the sleep is designed in the way it is to give us this healing. It's so important.
Yeah, it's really interesting, everything. As you say, it might not be something that they can relate to sort of directly right now about those sort of neurological disorders, but they might or might not have had someone in their lives with that. My mother actually had Parkinson's disease, so it's very interesting information for me. A few things that I want to talk about that I think would be very, very interesting for our teenagers. Is there any kind of correlation between the amount of screen time on a device and the quality or even the quantity of sleep? And have scientists been able to sort of link this at all to this degenerative process. And I that's probably a non-starter because obviously we didn't have technology, many, many years ago and that kind of thing. But I think it's worth asking.
Yeah, I think this is increasingly an area that is there's a great deal of interest in the scientific community, particularly with the increase in mental health disorders, and particularly in this age group and teenage girls, teenagers in general as well. Could getting better sleep actually help to alleviate mental health symptoms? And there is some emerging research in this field. Certainly my experience, not just working with teenagers across the board, but yes, definitely with teenagers, is that getting good sleep can really help to alleviate mental health problems, anxiety and depression. And, I'm speaking not just as a professional here, but as somebody who's also suffered from sleep problems, throughout my childhood, teens, 20s, and into my early 30s. I sleep really well a lot of the time now. I've worked on it. But I have a teenager as well, 15-year-old. And, I'm very concerned and to make sure that she gets good sleep because it has such an impact on health. There's a lot more research to be done in this area. And, technology is here to stay. So I'm not on this call to criticize it. I mean, I think technology is also wonderful, but we're still learning about its impact, its neurological impact on the brain, especially the brains of teenagers, young people, where they have what neuroscientists would call neuroplasticity. Their brains are developing, and they are neuroplastic. They're tender. They're sensitive, and we still don't understand the full impact that technology is having on their brain. We're, I think, at a very interesting stage in our evolution from a physiological point of view, where someone of my age will not be as adept at using technology as somebody of my daughter's age. And it's not just because she's on her phone or her tablet more. It's simply because, I don't know if she is actually, we're probably about even on that. But certainly her brain has more capability than mine.
Yes.
But what are the downsides? We're still learning about that. And I am certainly seeing a lot more in the mental health area with teenagers.
Well, it's really interesting. As you say, it's a lot to learn and it's very exciting. I mean, technology is one of those things that it's what the teenagers have known. It's the world that they've come into.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, as we are still learning and we have our concerns and we're sort of cautiously proceeding.